Hello and welcome back to Let There Be Light. And I trust that these sessions are giving you a little bit of light, a little bit of insight into biblical truth. I thought we would deal with a question today, a very important question that everyone must give a sound answer for. Who is Jesus? And this is kind of one of those fundamental questions that you've got to answer correctly, otherwise you're kind of doomed. Because who Jesus is vitally important. Really important. In fact, when Jesus was on earth and he was ministering and walking around with his disciples, on one occasion in Mark 8 we're told, he said to his apostles, "Who do people say that I am?" And the apostles replied, "Some think you're John the Baptist, some think that you're Elijah, even a prophet." And of course, Jesus was none of those things. John the Baptist had been his forerunner and had been martyred. So he was dead. Elijah had lived hundreds of years earlier. But of course, there's prophecy saying he's going to come back, but Jesus wasn't Elijah and Jesus wasn't a prophet. He was the prophet, as Moses says in Deuteronomy 18. And then Jesus said to his disciples, he put this question to them as well: "Who do you say I am?" And Peter, as he was accustomed to do, burst out and said, "You are the Christ, the Messiah, the Son of the living God." An incredible, correct answer. And Jesus said to Peter, he said, "Flesh and blood did not reveal this answer to you, but my Father in heaven gave you this information and you've correctly answered." And so answering that question of who Jesus is vitally important. And like in New Testament times when people got it wrong about who Jesus was, and so therefore went astray, today people get that question wrong as well. A lot of people say that when you talk to them about who Jesus is, they say, "Oh, he's a great teacher. You know, he told all these parables and all these famous stories about, two builders and all these amazing stories he told." They think he's a great teacher. But Jesus is more than a great teacher. He taught with authority and wisdom. And he read into people's hearts and his minds, and he knew what they were thinking, and he could respond to their questions. And so Jesus is more than a great teacher. Surely he's God. Other people will say, "Oh, he's a good person. He went around doing good and helping people." But again, surely Jesus is more than a good person. Surely he is 100% God, because he went about and he healed people. He defied the laws of nature, and if someone was sick, he made them better. If someone was dead, he raised them to life. If someone was blind, he made them see. If they were deaf, he made them hear. And so he went around, he surely was more than just a good teacher or a good person. And in fact, Jesus said in John 8:24, "Unless you believe that I am, you will die in your sins." And so Jesus made it abundantly clear of who he is. Jesus is the Son of God and he's the Son of Man. And he was fully God, and he came into this world and he clothed himself in humanity. He was born of a virgin. He grew up as a baby and as a toddler and through his teenage years. And he had a call and a task in his life. And he was fully God and fully man. And he had a mission. And of course, ultimately his mission was to die on the cross to represent both God and man. And to endure the shame, endure the pain, and the wrath of God for our sin on the cross. And of course, he rose from the dead triumphantly to prove that he was God. And so that's so important. In fact, Jesus emphasized this. If you ask Jesus who he was, he would fully say to you a number of statements that he says. He said, "I and the Father are one. If you've seen me, you've seen the Father." And Jesus used names for God of himself. He said, "I am the door. I am the good shepherd. I am the bread of life. I am the light of the world." The "I am" statements were a divine name for God. When Jesus was asked by a woman at the well in John 4, and she said, "Are you the Messiah?" He said, "You're speaking to him. You're the anointed one. You're the Holy One of God." And so it's vitally important to understand properly who Jesus is. Otherwise, we don't understand his mission. We don't understand why he died. We don't understand why he rose from the dead. And so I put it to you again today. Who do you say Jesus is? He's not John the Baptist. He's not Elijah. He's not a prophet, although he is the prophet. He's more than a great teacher. He's more than a good person. He is the God-man. He's the Son of God and the Son of Man. He's fully God and he's fully man. And he came to save us and redeem us from our sin. So as you're going about your week, can I get you to think about who Jesus is? All the false religions and all the false cults will tell you that Jesus wasn't God. And they will say to you, he was just like a good teacher or a good person. And they will deny his deity. But as soon as you say that Jesus is fully God, that's when you run into trouble. But that's the Jesus of the Bible. And so can I encourage you to get to know the Jesus of the Bible. That's the real Jesus, not a Jesus who's a figment of our imagination or what culture says he is. He's the God-man. He's the Son of God. And think about these things this week. May the Lord bless you as you consider this question of who Jesus is. Bye-bye.